this is a really good stretch. I am getting stretched out. Pause. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hall of the Mountain King. I'm the Mountain King, your host. Today we're going to continue our multi-part adventure on how to fix Dark and Darker, system by system, piece by piece. And today we're going to be talking about the Warlock. If you're just here for the new stuff, I've left you a timestamp down below, so we'll meet you there in a couple of minutes. Before we begin, I want to give a big thank you to some of the people that helped inspire this video. Guild Leader, Falkland Mage, Wrath of Koopa, Prophet Jabib, and the Warlock guy himself, Urban Gent. Make sure you stop by and check out their content. They're all really good guys, and tell them I said hi. So this is the third rework I'm doing, and it's the same rules as all the others I've done before, like for the Wizard and the Rogue. What I'm trying to do is give every class something that's unique, fun, and makes them competitive, the same way Druids have shapeshifting and how Sorcerers have spell murder. The good news is the Warlock doesn't need a massive update. It doesn't need a complete overhaul. It's already relatively new compared to the other classes in the game. It has been historically strong in various metas. It is very thematic, torture mastery, vampirism, blow of corruption. Like, it all screams that evil, demon worshipping, vampire, death knight kind of theme, and you can already really feel like you're a warlock. You're not just a guy with red colored magic. And the Warlock has the single most variety in builds that it can actually make using its various abilities and passives. So those are the pros of the Warlock, and there aren't many negatives. There's really only one big negative of the Warlock, and that's the only problem that needs to be fixed, which is the central idea of this update, which is that last good thing about the Warlock: they have the most build variety. So because the Warlock has so much build variety, because it is able to fill all these different niches, inevitably, when the meta shifts and when certain abilities go up and other abilities go down and other classes' abilities go up and down, it's a really complicated puzzle. And with the variety that the Warlock has, it leads to certain abilities being forgotten, being left behind, being underpowered. And that's the problem you have with variety. I don't want to take variety away from Warlock players. They don't need builds taken away. Variety is good. I'm not inclined to give more variety to other classes too much, but the Warlock already has it, so why take it away? The thing about the Warlock is, I'm calling this term right now, I'm gonna brand this as like a Mountain King original, but the Warlock suffers from something called Axe Mastery Syndrome. So, like where Axe Mastery for the Barbarian was +3 weapon damage, +5 weapon damage, +3, +5, +3, +5. Warlock also suffers from that a whole lot because of the variety of abilities he has and the variety of different builds that he can perform. So the goal is to ease the burden of variety. And how do you do that? By making the abilities interactive with the class. So the next part of my thinking was, what unites all of these different builds? What single theme unites the Death Knight, the Vampire, the Necromancer, the Demon Summoner, the Dark Magic Caster? And I would think about it, and it came to me really quickly. Souls, right? Souls. Souls are the thing that unite all of these different aspects of the character. So after I decided on a route to take that will fill all of the prerequisites that I have for a successful rework of a class, it was really, really fast. So the idea is to take Soul Collector and make it into a passive system that interacts with every other one of the Warlock's abilities, spells, perks, and passives. With all that information out of the way, finally, we can talk about the actual mechanic, which is Soul Covenant. Soul Covenant. I don't know if I'll put it up there. Soul Covenant. Soul Covenant is just going to be like a uniform passive version of Soul Collector. Instead of 3 darkness shards, you can hold 5 souls. Instead of getting the shards when you kill something immediately, you must approach the body. Bodies will, for Warlocks, have a blue little aura maybe with some wisps or something, I'm thinking, and you approach the body, you get within a certain radius, and then you collect the soul. That glow on the body goes away, and now you have 1 soul. It's not complicated, but it's a lot of moving parts, because in order to make this rework functional, you have to modify every ability, every perk, and I would like to modify every spell in order to interact with souls. The intent is for the Warlock to essentially stay the same, but the descriptions of these abilities like Shadow Touch or Torture Mastery or Blow of Corruption remain the same. The words are all the same. The effect does not change, but there is a small addendum that says, hey, when you use this ability, you consume a soul to get this. Hey, when you consume a soul, you get this effect. It's a small boost of power that is interactive and makes every ability at least somewhat relevant, and if not totally relevant to the meta, at least fun and interesting and thematic. I'm telling you right now, as you watch this video, this is probably my 50th time trying to explain this. And I think the best way to do it is to give you an example of like what this looks like. So you are a warlock, you're in ruins. The match just started and you just killed a skeleton archer with a darkness bolt. And his bones are glowing blue, which means he has a soul that you, a warlock, walk up to and absorb. Before you can even think about where to go next, all of a sudden there's a fucking druid who has rushed you and he is now about to try to kill you in bear form. Well, what do, right? Well, you just so happen to be a plate bonk build and you're level 10, so you have 3 passives, and the 3 passives that you have are Demon Armor, so you can wear plate, Dark Reflection, and Soul Hoarder. I'll explain Soul Hoarder later. The Druid hits you in bear form, and it hurts for a little bit, but you have Dark Reflection, and so he gets punished a little bit for hitting you. But what's this? Dark Reflection absorbs a soul, and when it deals damage after absorbing a soul, it slows down the attacker by 20%. The Druid is spooked by the amount of damage that he just took because it's Dark Reflection with 1 soul, plus he's slowed down, but he's gonna try to hit you with the overhead swipe anyway. But what's this? Demon Armor gives you an additional 10% PDR for 2 seconds or something after you consume a soul. So you have 1 perk that used a soul itself to get an additional ability, but then you have another perk that interacted with the use of a soul and gives you another bonus on top of that too. So now the bear has been chunked a little bit by Dark Reflection, they're slowed a little bit, and you're not dead yet. And that's scary to them because druids are cowards and he wants to run away. But before he runs away, you smack him with Blow of Corruption on your magic staff, and he flies away, he ragdolls across the module because he was shape-shifting into his true form. A rat. You won the fight, the druid is dead, his body is glowing blue because there's a soul for you to absorb. You drink a potion, you use a bandage, you walk over, you absorb the soul, and you loot his body. And as you're healing, you look down at your health bar and you notice, wait, instead of just 1 soul, I have 2. That doesn't make sense. I used 1 for Dark Reflection, and I just got 1 from the Druid. I should have only 1. But you have another perk, a 3rd perk, Soul Hoarder, which in addition to letting you gain 1 other max soul, so a total of 6, it also has a 25% chance on using a soul to not actually use the soul. Hey, I think that's pretty cool. This entire situation is fictional and hypothetical because in reality, the druid would win the fight anyway. But what this does is it describes what could be possible. It keeps the warlock the same, but makes his kit more engaging and more interactive. It gives you more incentive to explore the map and go get souls from those monsters. And that exploration is kind of the idea of the game, and that's also why I hate the BR circle so much, but SDF loves the circle, even though that opinion is objectively wrong, but here we are. And that's pretty much it for the Warlock rework, is that it's not a big, massive, sweeping change. It's not a whole new system being shoved into the class. Pause. The rework is just making the class more interactive and more fun and more interesting and a little bit stronger. Not too much stronger, but a little bit stronger, you know? That's about it. I'm gonna give you a few examples of abilities and the small changes I added to them, their interactions and stuff, and you can start thinking of builds yourself. Malice will give you plus 10% will, but per soul that you have in reserve will give you an additional percentage of will. And then Dark Offering, which is kind of the black sheep of active abilities for the Warlock. On channel start, if you have at least 1 soul, it'll consume a soul to have the amount of health that it takes and double its channeling speed for the first 3 seconds. And then with this rework, I just want to add a couple of passives that really add to the theme and give more of the vampire feel or a little bit of the necromancer feel. There's Warden of the Pit, which when a cursed enemy dies, you consume 1 soul to spread that curse, a refreshed curse, onto another target within a certain radius. Sanguine Rites, which is more of a vampire themed one. When you fall below a certain threshold of HP, like 40%, you consume 1 soul to gain plus 20% lifesteal on your abilities for a certain amount of time. Thanks for staying to the end. Here's your Dwarven Wisdom. So, by the time this video is uploaded, it's probably going to be right before Wipe 7, if not right after Wipe 7, and this video is going to mark like a small break that I'm going to take because I'm going on an adventure in early October. The Mountain Queen and I are going to the Elven forests down south, and we're going to just take a visit, and we'll go see the Elven King, and we'll go visit all the other elves down there. As a dwarf, I'm a little bit, I'm making sure that I'm being careful, but I think it's going to be a really good time. They eat a lot of cheese down there. So I'm going to be taking about a 2-week vacation down there, and that's going to probably put a little bit of a pause on production of other videos, but I'm gonna do my best to brainstorm while I'm down there, and hopefully it won't be too much of a long time before I put out my other video. So, like always, thanks for stopping by. Leave a comment, let me know what you thought. Leave a like, consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys next time. Good luck out there in the dungeons. Good luck in the dark. I am the Mountain King, signing off. I'm very proud to tell everybody that today, where I'm doing a little bit more recording, is actually the anniversary of myself and the Mountain Queen. I'm hoping to get done with this quick so that we can go to dinner tonight. We're gonna have Elven food, which is French food.